the story of Samuel, the last of the judges and the first of the prophets in Israel. Samuel was a prophet and a leader in Israel. He was the last judge and the first king over Israel. He anointed David to be king over Israel and also anointed Solomon to be king after him. So many people know the story of Samuel. But today we want to look at how he was raised and who raised him. This is a very interesting story. So let's go back to the time of Hannah and her husband Elkanah. And they were from the tribe of Benjamin. Elkanah had 2 wives. One was called Hannah, and the other one was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah didn't have any children. Now, every year they would go up to the house of prayer, which was located in Shiloh. And this was during the time that the tabernacle was still there before Solomon built the temple. It was a place where people could go and worship God. And so they would go there and sacrifice and spend time with God. Now, while they were there, Peninnah would mock Hannah because she didn't have any children. And Hannah was a very righteous woman. She loved God with all of her heart. So she prayed earnestly and she cried out to God, saying, "Oh God, if you would just give me a son, I will give him to you. I will set him apart for the Lord for all the days of his life. And he will not cut his hair or shave his beard. With this offering, I will bring him to the Lord." So God heard her prayer, and what happened? She conceived and gave birth to a son. She called his name Samuel, which means asked for, because she asked for him. Now, when Samuel was born, she took him to the house of prayer in Shiloh and gave him to Eli, the priest, the son of Ahijah. And this was the instruction that Hannah gave to Eli. She said, "My husband and I have made a vow to the Lord. If you please, when the boy is weaned, we will bring him here to you, and he will be a Nazirite to the Lord all the days of his life. He will only eat clean food. Right, no grapes, no figs, and no vinegar, and he will drink no wine." So Eli said, "Do as you have said." Then she left him there. When Samuel was young, Eli noticed that Samuel was a very special child, so he placed him alongside the altar of the Lord. And there Samuel ministered to the Lord under the direction of Eli the priest. Now, at that time, the people of Israel were living in the land of Canaan, and they were warring with their enemies around them. And the Ark of the Covenant was there in Shiloh. In the tabernacle, it was in a wooden chest, and any time they needed to use it, like the people of Israel, the Israelites, they had to ask permission of the priest, the high priest, to borrow it. So the high priest would take the ark, bring it out, put it on a pole, carry it on the shoulders, and then the Levites would help him to carry it. But as soon as the feet of the high priest touched the ground, everything would stop. They would have to wait until he'd finished. Then they could keep moving. So sometimes they had to wait many hours before they could continue their journey. One day, Eli, the priest, was very old, and he sent his sons to borrow the ark. They took it out and brought it to the camp, and the men shouted for joy. So much so that they dropped the ark, and it fell to the ground, and the carved poles that were underneath it broke into pieces. Then one of the men reached out and grabbed Eli's son by his clothes and pulled him up. When he did that, the ark of the Lord tipped over. Then Eli's son fell on his face, and his name was Hophni, and he died. The other Levite then grabbed the second son, and his name was Phinehas, and pulled him up, but his hand broke, and it was crushed. So the ark of the Lord remained there that day, and both of Eli's sons died. And this is what made Eli sad, that the ark of the Lord was treated this way, but also his 2 sons died that day. It was a very sad day. If you read 1 Samuel chapter 4, you can read more about this event. This is amazing. We see how God used ordinary people and worked supernaturally through them to accomplish his purposes. And that's what happened in the life of Samuel. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm making this series, Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. Because that's what we see in the Bible. God used ordinary people like you and me to accomplish extraordinary things, and Samuel was an example of that. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed this short video. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also, we are now available on a platform. You can watch our videos there as well.